Hello and welcome, everyone. I am so glad you're here. Welcome to the Power of Story webinar, how to attract a six-figure donation, expand your exposure, and build your following. I'm Lynn Sanders, the story marketing coach at Difference Makers Media, and I really appreciate you being here today and joining me. I also want to thank my friend and amazing colleague, A.J. Goodwin, the founder of Waterfall Music, who will be helping us out today as my wingman, and he will also be giving us a special gift as I will. So I want you all to stay tuned to the end of our webinar. I've got some powerful information to share with all of you today. Plus, as a bonus, if you stay till the end of the program, you'll receive my exclusive Difference Makers Story Blueprint. This guide will help you clarify your story in 4 easy steps and attract more of your ideal prospects to you. So the best way to take advantage today of this time together is to participate. And so I'm going to ask all of you here today to please participate. When you find something interesting, share your aha in the chat, and also be willing to share anything that strikes you that's of interest. Will you all agree to do that? Can you put a yes in the chat? Or if I don't see the chat, can you put it in the Q&A? I would really appreciate that. All right, so to start, I'd like you first is to put your name, your first name in the chat and where you're coming from. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered if there's some shortcut to success? Are you tired of struggling to make a bigger difference? And what do you think is the key to building your revenue, exposure, and following? What do you think? I'll give you a little hint. It's actually in the title of our program today. It is your story. Would you put in the word story for me? Appreciate that. You know, your story is really powerful because no one else has your story, just you. And sharing your story is a great way for people to get to know, like, and trust you. Stories connect us from the heart. In fact, I found out that our brains even release oxytocin. It's a chemical that brings pleasure when we hear stories. And the amount of oxytocin that's released by the brain actually predicts how much people are willing to help one another. Is that fascinating? I want to just ask for a technical question right now. Are you seeing my face, AJ, or are you seeing our screen share?
I'm seeing both you and I together.
Okay, great. I just wanted to, but are you seeing the screen as well?
Yes, I'm seeing the screen as well with the difference makers in the background. Yes, and you look
Okay, I just want to check on that. Okay, so I wanted to ask all of you, why should customers care about your project, about your business? How does your work change the world or improve lives? How will people feel when your work is done? These are the components that make your story both memorable and persuasive. If you remember just one thing from today's program, I'd like you to remember this. People don't remember facts. They remember stories because stories touch our heart. And some of you may have heard that our hearts are really our central decision-making, center, and our hearts direct our mind to make decisions. So while no one can promise you immediate results, I can't promise you a six-figure donation right after this webinar. What I can promise you is the steps you need to take in order to attract more followers, build your exposure, and your revenue. So this is what I will also promise. Let me see if I can do a screen share on this. I'm just working on building my technical skills here. So I want you to participate. I want you to write down what your goal is for the end of the year. And why do you care so strongly about your goal? What does it mean to you? Because the more we bring emotion into our story, the greater our attraction ability is. So these are the 3 promises I'm going to make to you today. First, I'm going to help you learn how to strategically craft your story using a proven story blueprint formula so it will be compelling. Next, I'm going to help you tell your story, both in writing as well as speaking and in mindset to make it more powerful. And last but not least, I'm going to help you learn how to strategically share your story so it builds your following with prospective clients, funders, or business partners. I want you to imagine that these three elements are like a three-legged stool, and each leg is important. Now, what would happen if one leg is gone? What do you think? Anyone have an idea? It will probably fall over, right? So what we're going to do is give you information for all three areas so you don't have to fall over. And at the end of the program, as I said earlier, not only will you have a gift, but I'm going to give you a special offer that you can take to accelerate your progress in getting to your goals. Let me give you a brief introduction first about me, and I want you to decide if this is a story or not. After over 30 years in the business of storytelling, I've learned that great storytelling comes from the inside out. You've got to be willing to be vulnerable and share who you are. If you want to get more results from your story, you've got to be able to stand out and be a leader. And it's not always easy. My company, Difference Makers Media, is about shining a light on difference makers, people like you, both nonprofit leaders, business owners, and cause-focused entrepreneurs by sharing their stories to empower, inspire, and transform lives. I'm a best-selling author, award-winning writer, editor, publisher, speaker, video producer. I'm the media host of the Difference Makers program, and I'm also a publicity and marketing consultant. Through creating, telling, and sharing stories, I've helped attract a six-figure donation for a client. I've also helped double memberships and grow thousands of followers for my clients. And now here's the big question. Was that a story? What do you think? Was it compelling? I'm going to ask my wingman, AJ, to step in because you can respond. I'd like to see what you have to say. Did you think that was a story, yes or no?
I think that gave me a good introduction about you, but really as a story, I think that there's more to it. I think that there's more that you want to go and expand on, and I'm now
Right.
interested to know about you. There's something else that was just put in the chat, and could
Mhm.
you, when you do your slides, can you put it and click on slideshow so then that way you see just the actual slide individually?
Thank you. Okay, I will do that. This is, I'm still learning. I don't want to say negatives about myself. I'm still learning all the ins and outs of technology. So I will thank you so much for sharing that with me. I will do I see it now. Click on slideshow when I go back to the slides.
Yes.
Okay, so AJ, you hit it right on the head. If anyone else answered, well,
Yes.
not really. That wasn't your story. Do you have some other comment to
Yeah,
share?
John David. Yeah, John David said it was a biography, not a story. It's
Exactly. I want you to know I did that on purpose because many people, when they share their story, they go into the facts, not story. So now I want you to hear the difference, and then you tell me if this made a bigger difference for you. I learned the hard way about the power of words when I was in 8th grade. That year, I was a new kid in school and I was bullied by a number of snobby girls. Not knowing what to do, I asked my father, who was a doctor becoming a psychiatrist, what he suggested. And he said very flippantly, tell him to go to hell. Now, I don't talk like that normally. And certainly in 8th grade, I never said those words. But I took his message seriously. So I practiced in my mind over and over saying, go to hell, go to hell. And the next day at school, I went up to that clique of girls in their tight little circle. I looked them all very sternly in the eyes, and I said in my meanest voice, go to hell. And right after that, the bell rang, and I raced inside, feeling very glad that it was over. But it wasn't over. At the end of the school day, the bell rang, and I was confronted by a number of those girls at my lockers, and they beat me up. I don't remember exactly afterwards what happened. I don't think I was bleeding, but they did beat me up. And my sister, who was younger, was watching, cowering in the corner as all this happened. I didn't know how I could possibly go back to school the next day. And luckily, my mother was my major support person and talked to the principal and got the kids to be more tolerant of me. And eventually, I made one good friend who saved the year for me. But that experience taught me the power of words are so strong. It's not only what we say to ourselves, but what we say to others that creates a ripple effect and has repercussions, either positive or negative. I realized I wanted to do more positive things with words. So when I went into high school, I got on the newspaper staff. I was the news and feature editor. I won an award for writing. I won an award and a trophy for speaking. I had a wonderful time in high school. And in college, I also enjoyed music because I love both music and writing. So I ended up as a professional writer at a commercial music company after school, where I got to have the opportunity to write live trade shows for Fortune 500 clients, commercials, and lyrics. My claim to fame was the WGN TV lyrics, Chicago's very own Channel 9, with the famous singer Lou Rawls. And it was such a high experience. After being at the company for almost 7 years, I started my own freelance writing company, Park Avenue Productions. I like the sound of those words. I happen to live on Park Avenue in Highland Park, and I wanted to provide high quality writing to my clients, and I did. However, I found out that by writing all types of projects for all types of clients, some of my work really wasn't as meaningful. I was writing sometimes about paper clips and binders or about computer components that really didn't touch my heart. So what happened? I got a wake-up call that was really, really difficult to handle. At the end of 2004, I found 3 people in my life who passed away, 3 of them within 8 weeks. And one was my beloved mother. I just got a call at 11:30 at night from my brother that my mother had a heart attack and didn't make it. And I literally felt like I was falling into a deep, dark, bottomless pit with no way out. I didn't even know if I wanted to live anymore because my mother had been my rock, my support for my whole life. As a result of my inner grief and inner anguish, my physical self started deteriorating. I couldn't walk or stand very well, and I explored all different modes of healing until I found an energy healer. And he said something that was so important, I want to share it with you today. Many of us are going through depression or hard times, but we also have to be aware of our inner selves. And he said to me, Lynn, you can be alive on the outside and dead on the inside. How can you best honor your mother's memory? What would she like you to do? I'm feeling goosebumps right now. I feel it's my mom's spirit listening. And so I realized he's right. My mother would not want me to be dead on the inside. And I decided I needed to live again. And I started doing things that had been on my bucket list for a long time. I got this children's book published, self-published, that had been in my heart for 20 years, Dancing with Tex, The Remarkable Friendship to Save the Whooping Cranes. I helped Westside Health Authority, a nonprofit, get regular TV, radio, and print coverage. And one of the stories got on the front page of the Sunday Chicago Tribune, which caught the mayor's attention. The mayor gave them a $100,000 award because he loved the story. Isn't that amazing? I never planned that they would get 100,000. I just was giving to them with all my heart, sharing their stories. Other wonderful things happened as well. I've been included in other books. I've interviewed thought leaders on my program, The Difference Makers, and I've seen people grow their followers all through the power of stories. So now, after all this time, I'm here to help you. And I want to help you right now. We're going to go back to our PowerPoint to show you exactly what do you need to do to craft your story. So I'm going to go back to, if I can get this working, here you go, resume share. And I'm going to ask your help for just a moment. Make sure I've got this full screen. Maybe AJ can you tell me, give me, is this covering the whole page?
No, you have to hit that slideshow. Click on that.
I am clicking on it.
Yeah, and then you have to hit, which one, folks? Which one is it? Is it the custom slideshow?
Custom.
With Coach.
So I'm clicking on the slide. What do you think? It should be showing. You're seeing me and the slide? Is that correct?
Right.
You
From
want to
current
just get
slide.
this?
Go click on the second one over on the left. It says from current slide.
Okay.
Click
I'm
on
clicking.
that.
Ah, there we go. I think this. Okay. So
Thank
where
you,
does
John?
Thank you, John. You're a peach. You're wonderful. I'm so grateful. So where does each of your stories begin? I shared 2 special stories here with pictures in the chat. This right one was a book that I published shortly after my mother's passing. It was a work for hire, social justice, how you can make a difference, story for kids. on how kids can make a difference with little vignettes of different kids who started their own nonprofits. This is on Amazon, and I basically did it as a work for hire, so I don't get royalties. I just have my name on the book. The bottom photo was from our healthcare mission to Ecuador with the nonprofit Causes for Change. And in the right bottom corner is my son, Andrew, teaching these children how to brush their teeth. They never had a toothbrush before. So let's go over the steps right now. Your words now, as you know, have power. The first step is called the call. I want you to identify the problem that you solve in your business. So I'm going to give you an illustration from the story I just told you. Hopefully you felt it was more of a story than the biography. The call to me, the problem that I recognized was when I was bullied, I recognized that words could hurt or heal. So if you have a moment, this takes time to think through, but I'd like you to write down in the chat or in the Q&A, what is the problem? What's the call that happened in your life? It could be something from your youth. Now, when you go through the journey of your story and you had the call, at some point, you're going to face the pit. Pit, here is this illustration, is the negative things that happen to you. I don't understand, it's too hard, I want to quit. You go through trials and tribulations. For me, the worst pit was my mother's passing, because I just didn't know how I was going to continue. What comes after the pit? Well, we've got to search for a resolution. And I actually mentioned that I wanted to heal, so I was searching for ways to get better. And I forgot to share with you the last step, which I will in just a moment. So the search is the third step. How do you resolve the problem? I also took self-development courses. You probably have done different things yourself to heal or to help your clients. The last step, which I didn't share with you, is called the breakthrough. And I love this illustration. This is a Japanese art called kintsugi, where broken pieces can be put together to make beautiful art. The breakthrough is something that made a huge change in your life, and the realization that propelled you forward. And after my mother's passing and after I got healed, I actually had another major upheaval with a breakthrough. I had a near brush with death from a misdiagnosis at a hospital. And ironically, I had written with 3 collaborators a patient safety video called Things You Should Know Before Entering the Hospital. I'm going to pause it for a moment. And what I found was that medical errors and unnecessary infections is one of the leading causes of death. The other part of the film, which is important to know, is that when you're in extreme pain, you don't think clearly. You need an advocate at your side in order to do the thinking for you. Well, when I had this ruptured appendix on a family vacation, I didn't think clearly, and my husband didn't think clearly. And I had tried the next morning boarding a plane from Denver to Chicago, and I felt my mother's spirit was watching over from the other side, and she had the flight canceled 3 times at the gate. And by then I knew I couldn't go on the plane, and I ended up being rushed to the hospital to have emergency surgery for a ruptured appendix. And I was saved. And my mother came to me in a dream and told me the words, "This is the day." And from that moment, I realized I needed to be more conscious about my time and spending each day with love and joy and peace and being happy with myself. So that was my breakthrough. What's yours? So this is time now for you to take a moment to reflect. Let's go over the 4 steps. You can share them in the chat. The first one is the call. Second one, the pit. Third, the journey of the search. And fourth, I don't see the chat. And fourth is the breakthrough. You need all those steps to make a compelling story. So now let us go on to the next part. Besides creating your story, and I think of crafting your story as the foundation for all your stories. Next, after you've crafted your story, you want to tell it. There's different ways to tell your story, and I'm going to give you 3 main points that I feel are very important. Every story, every good story starts from the inside out. So you want to be aware of your mindset when you tell your story. You can use positive words or negative ones. Then we're going to dive into how to tell your story through writing as well as speaking. So I'm kind of condensing 30 plus years of knowledge for you into about an hour, and then we'll have time for Q&A. I want to tell you these main points because I feel they are so valuable. So mindset is really critical to be able to tell a compelling story. This past year, I got certified through Orlia Moore in Mindset Mastery, and I love the program because it shed light on my own thoughts of how do I think about myself every day. And I realized that just like we give ourselves a bath or a shower, don't think about it, we need to keep our mind alert. We need to really focus on positive affirmations. Just as we feed our body food, let's feed our mind with positive words. I'd like you to say these words after me, even though you're muted, because when you speak it aloud, you'll bring it to life. You ready? Now, the first one is, I create my life. Everyone, I create my life. Next, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Your turn. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. This quote by Emerson, I wanted just to include, and it says that the only person you are destined to become is a person you decide to be. And that ties in with mindset. You decide what life you want to have. Let's go on. I've given you 2 more mindset affirmations. Next, I'm deserving of creating prosperity through my creative work. Your turn. Let's say it with emotion. I'm deserving of creating prosperity through my creative work. And last but not least, AJ, if you want to unmute, I'd love to hear a voice coming back to me. The last affirmation, I can do it. Can you say it with enthusiasm? Everyone.
I can do it.
Thank you. And let's say the Gandhi quote as well. I love this quote. Be the change you want to see in the world. Your turn. Be the change you want to see
in the world. I am the change I see in the world.
I love that. I love that too. So just so you know, these are just samples of 4 different mindset affirmations. You can certainly go to Google or you can talk to me later. There are many different mindsets that are available for you. I highly recommend that when you start your day in the morning, put your mind in the right frame of thinking. Give yourself at least 5 minutes, even 3 minutes, to do some affirmations so that you start your day in a more positive way. I personally have felt much more positive and different and uplifted by doing affirmations. Now, writing your story. Well, I've been writing almost my whole life, really. I remember when I was a kid writing poems on paper napkins, and it's just something that is part of my soul. But I want to give you some really important tips here when you write your story. First, think about the subject line that you have. Whenever you do any kind of writing, people will decide whether to listen to what you or read what you have to say by what your subject line is. Here are 3 main points that you want to be aware of when you create a subject line. You want that subject line to appeal to your target market. You want to touch the emotions and you want to capture attention. I want to bring your attention to the title of my program today, The Power of Story. I wanted to focus both on nonprofits and entrepreneurs, so I used the words how to attract a 6-figure donation. That's for the nonprofits here. I also said expand your exposure and build your following, which could apply to everyone. But when you write, you want to keep these things in mind. Now, there's different. Yes, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. We're still on the slide that says the breakthrough. Do you want to show them?
Oh, no.
Slides?
Yeah. Okay. So yes. How do I? Let's see. This is something let's see. How do I go back?
You can use your arrow, and that will toggle it to the next one forward. It should do that on your presentation.
Oh, I know why. That's why I forgot to click the button that said resume share. So now I'm sorry. Well, we're all learning. So this is the last one you saw, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to just move quickly. Tell your story. That was mindset, writing,
and then you have to go and do from current slides, so we don't see all your little. there. Yeah, the
Okay,
second one.
from current
Yeah,
slides.
yeah, and then you
Okay,
should be able to hit your arrow on
I,
your keyboard, and that should go to the
oh, on my
next slide.
keyboard. Okay, all right. I get it. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I
Yay.
appreciate everyone's help today. You can see where I am still learning, and that's part of life, right? We just learn, we keep moving forward. So writing, as I mentioned, is something I've done like my whole life, and I wanted to focus on three different types of writing, or even I can touch on another one for you. But I've already covered in the slide right before this, your subject line is critical. After you've got your subject line, here are different ways of writing that I want to bring attention to and why they're different and how you can make the most of them. So with blogging, oh, sorry. So with blogging, to be an effective blogger, I feel you need to deliver value both in giving information that your audience wants to hear, and it's also great to add something personal. I know when I read other people's blogs, if it just sounds commercialized, I'm really not that interested. So when I do a blog, I like to include something personal. If you go to differencemakersmedia.com, and if you haven't done this already, I urge you to do that and click in to get my free story strategy guide. You just put your name and email on that front page. You will then be subscribed to my blog, which you can unsubscribe at any time. And I work my best to deliver value each time, as well as sharing something personal. Press releases. Oh, I guess I get. So in press releases, what do you think is different about a press release than a blog? Anyone have any ideas? If you're a journalist, you would know. But I'm gonna tell you, since I'm here to present to you. I've been a publicity consultant for many years in the past, and every press release has to cover the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, and then the 6th one is how. I'll repeat it: who, when, where, why, what, and how. In a press release, you want to be able to put the most important information in that first paragraph, because the media may not want to read a lot, and they're going to look at that subject line first. So just as I said earlier, your subject line is important. In each of these, it's critical if you want the media's attention. In fact, I just want to give you a few samples of some intriguing subject lines that could capture someone's attention. You might want to say, please read, or this is important, or if I only knew what I know now, or I have a gift for you. In my email today, I went to my blog and I wrote, today's the day. So it's just a way of capturing someone's attention. It could arouse curiosity or just get them wondering what you're going to say. So the other part about press releases is, beyond that first paragraph, I recommend getting a quote from people who are involved in your story. I consider it like adding some juice to your story, getting the media interested even more because there's some quotes from people who are involved in the story. So the third one here is video scripts. AJ, I'm going to ask you, since you're my wingman, you could unmute. He is not prepared, so he's doing this just as a very kind person. What do you think is different in writing a video script versus blogging or press releases or anything else? You know?
A video script probably would be shorter, maybe something more to the point, rather than a blog might go on much longer, and people have a shorter attention span. That's my first thoughts.
Okay, well, thank you for being my guinea pig, AJ. You're wonderful. So that actually is not the answer, but that's okay. So, because I've been writing videos for a long time. So in a video, we have to see the video as well as hear it, right? So when you write a video script, unlike any of these other formats, you divide your page in half. The left side is visual, the right side is auditory. So when you have something on the right side, like this is the day, you have to think, what are you going to put on the left side to reflect that feeling of this is a day. Maybe it would be a beautiful sunrise, but your video has to be both obviously visual as well as auditory. The only difference, the only time it's not, is if you're doing an interview. And I've included a cover of an interview I did that I felt was very historic. I wanted to share with you. And it was an interview called The Power of Cute Speech with Sandy Mostick and her daughter, Rachel. Rachel is totally deaf, and her mother is not deaf. Sandy's her mom. And she learned about cute speech, which has been a remarkable method. It's still around very much. It's been very, very exciting to use, which uses 8 hand shapes around the mouth to represent all consonants, 8 hand shapes, and 4 positions around the mouth to represent all vowels. So let's say, I don't know if you can see me or not, I could pause this share. I learned it, but then I forgot it because I don't use it very much. So this is a m. Looks on the lips, it looks just like a b. This is b with the thumb going down. B. So through cute speech, you actually make sounds with your hand and the positions around your mouth. And her daughter, Rachel, has been able to have high literacy and then also learned sign language to communicate with her deaf friends. And she also eventually got a cochlear implant as well. She is the head person now at the National Cute Speech Association. And Sandy, because of her passion to help deaf children and adults, she's created the only online source for people to learn how to use cute speech called cuecollege.org. In this interview, I not only interviewed Sandy and her daughter, but we had a cute speech transliterator, someone who was actually making the signs by the mouth, and we had a sign language interpreter for those who didn't know cute speech. So now I'm going to go on to what would make a really powerful video. And I've asked AJ to come to the front for me, and I wanted him to share a video that was something I was very proud of. I wanted to publish this book for 20 years, and after I decided I was going to do it, whatever it took, I created a crowdfunding video. I wrote the video, and then I got permission from different sources to use music, to use video footage, and I got an editor's help to blend everything together, and I even spoke on camera myself. So it's a mixture of all different elements edited together to basically touch people's emotions and have them contribute towards my children's book, Dancing with Text. Are you able to share that with us, AJ? Thank you.
It had never been done before. In April of 1976, Dr. George Archibald, co-founder of the International Crane Foundation, conducted an unusual bird experiment. He moved his bed, desk, chair, and a journal into the shed of Tex, a rare whooping crane. His objective? To help Tex lay a fertile egg by dancing with her. That's right, George wanted to become Tex's dance partner. He knew whooping cranes were on the verge of extinction, so every chick mattered. He also realized that all whooping cranes do a mating dance before laying an egg, and Tex would not dance with any other bird because she identified only with people, not cranes. Well, it took 6 long years. Finally, it happened. Tex laid a fertile egg that hatched into a chick, and the rest is history. Since then, George has become known as the world's crane ambassador, helping protect and save all 15 species of cranes across the world. Hi, I'm Lynn Sanders, host of Difference Makers Media, where we help nonprofits and heart-based entrepreneurs tell their stories to expand their exposure, build their following, and attract revenue. I love creating positive stories that make an impact, and this is an important one to share. Why is it important? Because our environment is still being harmed, and animals, including the cranes, still face the threat of extinction. We need to spread the message that each of us can make a difference in the world. That's so important. Children need to realize that they can speak up and bring positive change. A number of years ago, I had the good fortune to meet Dr. George Archibald, and he told me the story off camera. I thought it was so captivating that I wanted to create it into a children's book. I think you'll find it interesting to hear what he has to say.
I think very much that text was a metaphor for our whole effort here in helping the cranes of the world. That it's a roller coaster ride. The odds are against us in many cases, but if we stick with it and if we have faith, we're going to come through okay.
I really appreciate your support in getting this story published because it will offer children a chance to feel inspired, motivated, and empowered that they can speak up and they can make a difference. I'd also appreciate your consideration in sharing this message with your friends on Facebook and other social media sites. Together, we have the power to transform the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, AJ. We can stop the share now. Thank you. Great. So now we're on to the third component of our 3 parts of story. We've covered crafting your story, we've covered telling your story, and now we're in sharing your story. And I'm going to continue by sharing it on sharing it here with you on the slides. So I'm just going to ask your help to tell me if you all see this. I hope you do. Each of the elements that we just covered, blogging, which also covers articles, press releases, and videos, certainly can be shared. Everything can be shared. But I want to cover something that many people might not be aware of, and that is first testimonials. I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So whatever you do, you've got to be fearless. And then when you do good work for people, it's all right to ask them to give you a testimonial. Many of us forget to do that. Where would your testimonial appear? Lots of different places, everywhere from your website to Google itself. Google is the world's largest search engine. And when someone gets a link from your Google business listing and they put a testimonial on that page, it actually boosts the ranking of your business on Google, and more people will find you, because you may have heard the saying that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Well, when people read testimonials that you cared about other people, they're more likely to work with you. So you can use testimonials on Google, on your website, and on any social media site. LinkedIn is a great site for also asking people to send you testimonials. So I'm going to see if I can get this now to move forward. Why am I? There we go. So I thought, since I'm talking about testimonials, I might as well put a few testimonials up myself. I often forget to ask testimonials. So this one on the left is from Morris Reed, the CEO of Westside Health Authority. That's the organization that I was their publicity consultant for 4 years, and I helped them get the $100,000 award, not to mention getting regular coverage in all media. And he says, Lynn provides exceptional service and is passionate about her work. The results always exceed. Heshi Siegel, who I've worked with, who is a founding affiliate of Be Connected, a global networking community, says, Lynn Sanders is a visionary difference maker who teaches people how to bring their stories to life, to impact their listeners, to take action, to make a difference. Lynn is a master at what she does. Thank you, Heshi. And Asaf Bartura is an executive director of SMART, and I had worked with him a number of years ago when he had a program called Or Tzedek, which actually is Hebrew for Light of Justice. And it's a Jewish organization that does social justice. I helped write and produce a video for their organization to promote their nonprofit. He wrote, Lynn's company created a dynamic promotional video for our nonprofit youth summer program, Or Tzedek. In the past year, we have almost doubled our enrollment, and I have no doubt that the video Lynn produced for us was central to the success. If you go to linkedin.com/in, then /Lynn Sanders, you can check, going down my profile, and many other testimonials. I think I have 36. And I would recommend that all of you ask people for testimonials. In fact, I don't want to spend too much time on just one website and one social media site, but LinkedIn allows you to write your profile. And I was going to recommend that instead of using facts, create a little story about the benefits that you offer to your clients as part of your profile. If you go to my LinkedIn site, you'll see the story that I wrote about myself, get an idea. Now let's talk about social media sites. You have the world at your fingertips when you post on social media. Of course, social media doesn't erase what you write either, so you want to be careful about what you say. I have include this little cartoon. It's a matter of trust, because everything that we say or that we do is really a matter of building trust among other people. And if someone breaks your trust, then you're never going to want to work with them again. So I recommend that whatever you say on websites, you want to say it in a positive, helpful way. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are 5 of the sites that I'm on. I usually just focus more on the first 3, although I have been doing more with Instagram. In any case, just like each of us have our own personality, each of these social media sites, they also have their own personality. Facebook allows you, in case you didn't know, to have both a personal page and a business page. So if you go to facebook.com, you can find me under Lynn Sanders with the number 2, or you can go to Difference Makers Media and join my group and share your Difference Makers activity. One thing to be aware of that I'm not sure everyone recognizes is that most people, when they're posting on social media, many of the people will primarily post about themselves. And sometimes it's really better not to just post about yourselves. In fact, much of the time, I would recommend looking at what other people are posting, people who you admire, who you like, and do something for them. Give first. It's called the Pareto principle, is an 80-20 rule that's been shown scientifically to be correct. And it means that you can get 80% of responses from just 20% of the people you reach out to. So if you think that way, you want to give 80% of the time on social media. Giving means, I'm going to go back. Giving means you might want to post a comment to their social media site. You may want to like what they said or share it. All of those things will help build your relationship with your client or with your prospect. So as I said, you want to give first, think of others first, and then you can post about yourself. 80% of the time for others, 20% for you. Comment plus showing that you like something and share. On the right is a diagram of the different ways that you can engage in marketing. And you'll see it's like a hub. Do as much as you can. But the key here is to be consistent in some area. So you can be listed in directories. You can be on have social networks. You can be doing your blogs once a week. Have a press release sent out. Do an article. And of course, you want to have a website where people can find you. Now, we have a special guest here tonight. I'm so thankful and grateful to her. One of my favorite people in the world, Elise Bridges, or known by Grandma Sparky. And I wanted to include this honoring ceremony with all of you here today. So I'm going to stop this here in a moment. I wanted you to see these pictures. I met this lovely woman when I was just doing a cold call for people who were difference makers online. And her company used to be called Difference Makers International. And I was changing my company name from Park Avenue Productions to Difference Makers Media. And I just spoke to her. She didn't know who I was. And I loved her energy and asked if she would be willing to be a guest on my podcast, which she was. And, you know, we connect more deeply through the soul than necessarily through the physical means. And I was grateful I got to eventually travel to California and meet her. We've met several times. And over this past year, I've become a global Blue Ribbon ambassador in her movement, which is to honor people around the country, around the world, and let them know that that they make a difference. Because right now, unfortunately, suicide is one of the leading causes of death among youth. There's depression, as I'm sure you're all aware of, throughout the world. We're all confronted by negative media, and negative media just produces negative feelings within ourselves. We need an antidote. We need a jumpstart cable to love, and that's what this ribbon is all about. So I'm going to let you know that each of you can honor other people. It's very easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it in just about a minute or less. So I'm going to stop the share. And AJ, I'm going to ask you again if you would be kind enough to take yourself off mute so that I can show everyone and have you be with me, okay? You've seen me do this before. I love doing it. It just touches my heart. It's, again, it's a way to honor people for who they be, not what they do. We're all being people. So AJ, I have a gift for you, and I have a gift for everyone here. It's a blue ribbon that says, "Who I am makes a difference." And I want to honor you and everyone here because everyone has been taking their time and energy to listen and learn from me, being willing to be patient as I go through the technical challenges. And also, each of you, you're drawn here by the energy of wanting to make a difference. You are a difference maker. You're helping transform people's lives. And I am so grateful to be connected with you, especially also AJ, who's here as my volunteer. Will you accept this ribbon?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
I love it. Look at, he's got the ribbons at the back. So there's a little sticky tape in the back. Each of you watching, whether you're watching live or the recording, I want to ask you, may I have permission to place this ribbon on you?
Sure. Here, let me let you do it. Ready?
Okay, I'm
Go ahead
putting it
and
on you now, AJ. This is a multiple dimension from Illinois to California. So the ribbon goes upwards right over your heart to make all your dreams come true. Can you put it over your heart?
Okay, here, you're going to give it to me. Here we go.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, there's the ribbon.
There it is. All right.
Okay.
I got it right here. Going to go up
And
over my heart.
The words are, yes, it says who I am makes a difference. So I'm different. I'm honoring you. And also those energy words reflect back on the person who's speaking. So I want you to know, it's the tradition to take the spark from my heart and put it in the ribbon to make your dreams come true. I'm going to tap on the cheerleaders who are jumping for joy at the end of the ribbon. And those dreams coming true starts with the sound of, you can say it with me, bing! Isn't that wonderful? That's the sound to make dreams come true. So all of you listening, I want you to be honored as well. If you go to blueribbons.org, I'll put the screen share on again, you can each get 10 free blue ribbons or order more. And watch the movie about a boy's life who was saved thanks to these blue ribbons. You never know what a person's going through and how they could use someone to honor them and share some love. In the right corner of this screen, these are people who were at a restaurant. I honored them. I was in California and Sparky came over. It was right around Halloween time. And she also honored the people. And you could see even from their masks, they have smiles. They were all so grateful to be honored. So before we go, just doing my best, I want to ask you, what have you found most valuable today? And would you like to be my next success story? I have a free gift coming up. So let's take a look. I've created an evergreen program called Craft Your Story, and it goes into more depth about these three components: crafting, telling, and sharing your story. An hour each with audience involvement. There's also training modules. There's a training module on effective networking given by Heshi Siegel, who you saw earlier. And that's another hour of training. And you'll get a Craft Your Story workbook and templates, as well as a private 60-minute story strategy session with me on any aspect that you need help on. The total value is $750. The regular rate for this program is $495. And today, and for the next 24 hours, I'm going to offer a $100 discount on this. So it's $395 for 4 modules with the workbook templates and a consultation. I hope you will find that to be very fair. And I hope you'll really take a look at it. The site is asklynsanders.com/craft your story. And now for your free gift, if you go to this site, scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a link for the Difference Makers Story Blueprint. So you just need to go to that site, scroll to the bottom, click on the link, and you'll automatically get this blueprint that will help you in crafting your story. You know, we all have stories to share. And the most important thing is to get them out into the world, because otherwise, you know, we're losing that opportunity. I want to thank you all for coming. And I intentionally said this would be a little bit longer because I wanted you to be able to ask questions. But I would also encourage you to go to my site and get a story strategy guide and connect with me on social media. I put down the Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok links so you can get that. The power of your story, something that's always there for you. And I'm here to help you bring it out into the world because our world needs you. Our world needs more positive, loving people. And that's who you are. Sparky, thank you for putting your site blueribbons.org. Everyone's entitled. And now, before I forget, AJ also is going to give you a gift. He offered to do this at the last minute, and I appreciate him because he has an amazing nonprofit that I would like him to share a little bit of what he's doing and the gift that he will also give you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, our Paul Lloyd Warner Foundation has now emerged as a 501c3, where it's where we're giving back to humanity with the archives of Paul Lloyd Warner's work. And so I'll put a couple sites on there so you can all start looking at them. One will be called Waterfall Giving, and then another one will be the paullloydwarner.com site. And the music is going to people that really need it. So this goes to teachers, parents, students, people in medical wards, the ER, to hospitals and hospice, where they really need the healing power of music to make a difference in the world. And we are just seeing that in the next 10 years, I see over 1 billion people using the music. So
wow, beautiful.
It's real exciting to see it all unfold.
That's lovely. Just like the ribbons, our aim is to reach 1 billion, over 50,000 are honored. So we can all work together and collaborate and make it a better world. So I'm going to say that right now, I'm going to say before we close, I'm going to just give you one last quote, and then I'm going to ask you if you have any questions. I thought of this quote years ago and found out that Jane Goodall said the same thing. And the quote is that we all make a difference. We get to choose what kind of difference we want to make. So I invite you all to continue shining your light and making your difference felt. I appreciate you. You are really an important part of our world. Thank you for being there. And now I will stop the recording and allow you to ask any question that you'd like.